20 episodes. 20 episodes. Chris, we are 20 episodes in. But I've got nothing much else to say except let's keep this ball rolling. Follie's farm, and by proxy the Enkaus, is pretty simple. The Vesper Relay is haunted and we have to go to it and make 3 paintings. You have to find 3 easels and a bunch of paint. It's literally just the layout of the Earth Relay, so navigating it is easy, besides the ink goop and structures that now occupy some of the spaces. The 3 easels spawn in semi-static locations. C is always on the first floor in one of the 4 rooms. A is always in the main area in one of 3 locations, and B is either in one of the syndicate rooms or in the back room on the 2nd floor. Sometimes, some rooms will be locked on either floor, and honestly it kind of makes it easier because of the paint not being able to spawn in there. But to paint, you need to find the paint, which only 3 spawn at a time in certain locations. When you grab it, you are forced into operator/drifter mode, and you can't void sling. You just roll and avoid all the things that now spawn after picking it up, or defeat them with your amp or a buddy you brought with you. You also have to fight Follie herself, which, after 24 hours, she was patched in order to be defeatable, making her go away for a little bit of time. I never played the pre-patch version, because it literally happened the next day on stream that I just found out it was patched, but she was unkillable, and the ink walls would knock you down, and there was a little bit more, but overall it's now just easier. Even then, when you play, modifiers happen, but in all honesty they didn't really matter at the end of the day. Just looking at my gameplay, you see that I just dodge and move, and because my strategy was locate the easels, locate the first 3 spawns of paint, and then start, since nothing happens until you pick up your first thing of paint, and the material balloons don't spawn either until that happens. The balloons, as aforementioned, are material balloons, giving you the pity currency for the dude on, I think, any relay he can spawn. You go to him, you buy it. But this time it is a heavy pity. You need 2,400 atramentum, and you get about 20 to 40 per run. 15 is guaranteed, and 25 guaranteed on Steel Path. You can stay in the mission for as long as you want and defeat ink blob enemies, because they drop more of that material, or go and get all of the balloons. My goal was the drops, so I just did it as fast as possible, still getting a decent amount of atramentum, mainly 40-ish or 30 to 40-ish. I eventually got into a rhythm of just trying to kill, dodge, and snipe the balloons as I was delivering paint all at the same time. And on average, it was about 3¼ to 4 minutes. I did get some 2-minute times though. But speaking of drops, what are they? Well, each piece of Follie in the Enkaus have a 5% chance to drop, 4 pieces each, so a 40% chance of possibly getting 1 piece of either. They share the same drop chance with the items you need to increase your syndicate standing, optionally, which I understand, it's themed with the activity. However, I could not give less of a if I tried about those rewards, the other 2 being endo and credits. So, play it on normal if you don't want to die instantly. Steel Path if you really just want more currency and a slightly higher chance. All of that being said, what did I get and how long did it take? It took me 1 hour, 29 minutes, 51 seconds, getting 4,000 endo, so 4 instances, 3 credit caches, 3 insignias, 3 Follie systems, 2 marks, 2 datums, 2 Follie blueprints, 1 seed, 1 quintance, 1 Enkaus barrel, and 1 Enkaus blueprint. I pitied your chassis inner optics, adding 120 to the counter. Overall, if you're not lucky, it can be painful. I did get lucky in getting the blueprint, lowering the pity needed by 1,200. And the mission is fine now. It's actually kind of fun, and not unfun like it probably was pre-patch. So I'd say it's about an S tier farm, maybe A tier. Actually getting Follie in less than 2 hours in-game is kinda nice. And I'll skip ahead to the Enkaus as well because A, it's also in the video, and B, has the exact same farm. So farming for the Enkaus, I got 1 Enkaus receiver, 1 Enkaus barrel, 1 Follie optic, and 1 Enkaus stock, taking 14 minutes, 1 second, adding 10. I was very lucky, and it goes in the same tiers. Follie, however, is insane. Let's just start with her abilities. Her 1 lets her teleport and be invulnerable for about 4 seconds, encoding enemies in ink when she emerges. You can cast this whenever you want and also possibly leave the world. Next is her 2, and it is just insane. It's ridiculous. She gets access to 14 stupid as hell abilities. She can spawn explosive barrels, an arc trap, the Scaldera RPG, amphors from the alchemy mission, the death orb from the Orokin tile sets, and it gives you energy, a coralizer armament that freezes enemies, a Loke Surge from the Zeramin that will give you one of its abilities randomly, a universal ammo dispenser that full restores, a launch pad that's really not that useful, a lost spirit from the Zeramin that leads you to rare items in the map within 50 meters. Then, what I think is even more stupid is she can spawn life support capsules, power cells, a taunting defense capsule, and a conduit key. Now you might be thinking, oh, the cooldowns must be heavy because she can't be doing all of this in within 2 seconds of another because it would be broken as hell. F***ing no. Explosive barrels, arc traps, coralizer armaments, and launch pads have no cooldown. The RPG, amphors, death orb, universal ammo dispenser, lost spirit, if it actually finds something, and conduit keys all have 30-second cooldowns. The power cell and defense capsule have a 60-second cooldown, and the life support capsule has a 3-minute cooldown. The next thing is that it's affected by duration, so my things last 24 seconds, making the 30-second cooldown kind of negated into a 6-second cooldown. Obviously, unless you move areas I want to recast again, but that's not all. It can go higher than 24 seconds. Also, all of the abilities that do damage, besides I think one of them, scale off enemy health in large percentages. She's nuts. We're not even on her 3. So let's talk about her 3. She spawns a statue of herself that dances occasionally and provides damage reduction as long as you're in its range. It does start off small, but it grows and reaches farther, also increasing the damage reduction up to 90% and coats the enemies that enter its range in ink. You'd also think that recasting it would reset it back down to 10% and its smallest radius. No, not at all. It keeps its max damage reduction range, and if it's low on its remaining time, you could just cast it and reset that time back to its middle base. I'll talk about the 4 in a second, mainly because I think the passive needs to be explained now, and I also think her 4 is kind of dog shit, and I personally would subsume over it in a heartbeat. Her passive is, an enemy coated in ink/ink blot has their movement speed reduced by half for 10 seconds, and if killed while inked, has a 20% chance to drop 3 orbs of energy or health, or a mixture of the 3. Like, we cannot be serious, dog. Slap an equilibrium mod on, or better yet, a purple shard on her, and you're just golden. Now, with her 4, I can see its use. It has armor stripping/defense reduction. However, the CC tied to it in line of sight stuff just makes me appreciate Frost's 4 even more. The CC part of it making the enemies float is annoying. Probably very much so for melee frames and melee weapon enthusiasts. So I would personally subsume over it, and there's a few armor stripping abilities in the Helminth anyway. Regardless, she's S. Triple S to me. What in the what is this frame, man? I love having to do Lich-esque things almost every other video. However, I didn't have to do that this time, because I had enough live heart cells left over from the last Coda video to just go and buy it. But TLDR, hack a thing in a Helvania mission, spawn the guy, go do missions until he spawns again, stab him with the correct mod multiple times until you fight the boy man in space, and then go buy the weapon. It goes in A, as always. The normal Buconico was already good. This is just a better variant than it. Its stats don't increase much at all, except for the 60% more elemental damage of your choosing, and can be swapped at any time with the elemental vice. It has more mag size and a faster fire rate. It does have infinite ammo, but it has to recharge. But there are ways that you can circumvent that, mainly primary crux. But overall, it's just a better Buconico, so A tier. For the Enkaus, we're going right away to its potential, because we already covered the farm with Follie. That being said, the Enkaus is also really good. It does innate corrosive damage with a decent crit and very good status chance. It also has a passive where it insta-kills enemies below 35% health. And if enemies are affected by ink/ink blot from Follie or the alternate fire on the gun. While you're shooting the inked enemies, it draws the ink in and replenishes its ammo. So it could potentially fire forever if played correctly. And it also just has infinite ammo anyway. Sadly, it doesn't chain to other enemies, and I've learned that I should also probably put punch through because of that. This also applies to other beam weapons if they don't, chain. A status build with some crit seems to be the way to go. I just wonder if the insta-kill red crit applies to other enemies when they're chained together, like with Cooler Bows 3. Anyway, I think it's an S tier weapon, maybe A tier, because the Glaxion might just be better, and other chaining beam weapons might also just be better, but I think it has very high potential overall. Man, oh man, do we love Lich-esque weapons. So, sister weapons, which is also what the next video is going to be the entirety of. TLDR, have a Zenith Granum Crown, go to a Golden Hand in a Corpus Ship tile set, then use it. Complete the activity, and stab the candidate if it's the weapon that you want. Do the missions that she controls, stab the hounds, find the Requiem mods you need in the order you need, use an Ul mod, and then confront her and vanquish her to get your weapon. As always, it goes in It Depends. And look at this, another beam weapon, and it's not bad. It has very good stats and easily able to raise either the crit or status to 100 of your desired amount for a build. It also, by nature of it being a sister weapon, can have any element you want on it and can be swapped at any time with Elemental Vice. It also does innate electric damage, letting you make more elemental choices. Its secondary fire to me is useless unless specifically built for it because the cube isn't bad. I just prefer the normal fire. It doesn't chain either, so punch through. But finally, it's also another variant to the Quanta. The Vandal Quanta is slightly similar and is better. I'm not entirely confirmed on that one, but it does have way more status chance, like 45% compared to the Tenet's 26, which, alright, I still like the Tenet one more. Anywho, I think it's an A tier weapon, but also it just goes in It Depends because, well, it's a Tenet weapon. You get this gun from the Arbiters of Hexus Syndicate at rank 5. If you don't have them at rank 5, but -2, like me, just buy it from someone for like 25 to 30 to 35 plat, which is what I did, so it goes in It Depends. The Telos Akbolto are just alright. They suffer from being old, just like the other Syndicate weapons. And stuff like the Axe Stiletto Prime and its own Prime are just better. It's a status dual regular pistol weapon that's projectile based and does alright damage. I just get the Prime and say this is MR fodder mainly. There's a lot more that do much more, but it is slightly better than the Act Magnus Prime for sure, so C tier. I found my purple space background again. So now we're doing the changes to the tier list again. Starting with the farming tier list, the Prisma Grinlock is going to It Depends because I don't know why I put it in anything other than It Depends because it is a Baroque tier weapon. The Aelak is going down to C tier because I realized that I also got very lucky there and looking at the part drops because you need 4 different parts from 3 different activities and a 7% chance, which is not the worst, but it's still not B tier. The Cinta is going from D to F just by nature of you don't even know the drop chances at all. It's not even on their drop tables. Like, this is really weird. It could be literally anything. The Ambassador is also going down from S, maybe because it was just me being very lucky, but the drop chances for each of the parts are still very low. So it could be either way. It could be S because I was very lucky, or it could go down to B tier because the drop chances are very bad and I was just lucky and I need to be a little bit more objective probably. But that might be up to you guys, especially what's about to be next might also be up to you guys because I am in heavy contention with the primes because technically all of them could go in It Depends because they're primes and you have to get them from relics, which also have 5 other drops including relic drops, and I kind of just rated them based on how easy it was for me to farm them, like Lavos Prime being an S tier because I got extremely lucky and got him under an hour. But then something like the Daiku Prime being in D because I got extremely unlucky. And then there's the Brayton and Leto Vandal because their farms got changed. I still think they're F tier for when I farmed them, and I don't know if I should retroactively go back and change them to D to C tier because that's what they are now. But when I farmed them, they were F tier. So there's that. That's up to you guys, and what else is up to you guys is if I'm overlooking something, or if there's something else that should be updated in terms of how I've already put the list or what I just said. That's going to be up to you guys, and let me know, but right now, this is where the tier list sits. Now, for the potential tier list, this is going to be, as always, kind of contentious, I think is the right word, and a lot of, hey, am I right? Or is there something I'm not looking at? Or what do you guys have to say about it? Because it's potential. Something can have extreme potential or low potential, and at the end of the day, you could take a Mark 1 Strun and 2 Steel Path if you truly wanted to. Now, Kome is going up to C tier, because long missions is where she shines, especially with the decrees. Sevagoth to B tier, because he is pretty good at what he does at nuking and, well, CCing, among other things. The Coda Pox are going up to A because I've seen some nasty stuff with them, and there's some more that I'm contentious about and have no idea what to do with, like the Higasa, because I don't know if it should be with the other A tier weapons. I don't think it's as good as the other A tier weapons, but I feel like I could be wrong because I don't have the mod, and if I put the mod on it, it might do even better. But the other weapons are the Velox and Trumna that I'm a little unsure about still. Take a look at the potential tier list and let me know where you think I am extremely wrong, where I have a right idea but wrong place, and, you know, anything about gaining more knowledge, I can move it literally anywhere we want to put it. But for now, this is where the potential tier list now stands.
Formidable performance.
Legendary rank 3, baby. I don't know why I said it like that, but I did. That's all I get. Plus more Riven stuff, but whatever. Legendary 3. Which I probably could have been last video, but still. We're still going and still making progress. And if you've watched this far, thank you. But next video is going to be Varuna Prime, the Perigo Prime, the Seraphim Prime, and the Tenet secondaries. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care of yourself.